A surprise Iranian missile strike on a U.S. military base has raised a critical question. If Tehran truly wanted peace, why risk restarting direct conflict with Washington? According to a new BBC analysis, Iran's leaders may believe that a limited war gives them more leverage than a ceasefire. But is that strategy sustainable, or could it spiral into a much larger regional conflict? At first glance, Iran's recent missile strike against a U.S. base appears contradictory. It ended a fragile pause in direct fighting and triggered renewed American airstrikes. But some analysts argue that Tehran's decision may have been calculated rather than impulsive. According to the BBC, Iran may believe that a controlled conflict offers more strategic advantages than an imperfect peace. Here's why. The United States has shown little interest in a full-scale regional war. A broader conflict could disrupt global energy supplies, push oil prices higher, and require significant military resources across the Middle East. Iran also has reasons to avoid an all-out war. Years of sanctions, economic pressure, and repeated military strikes have weakened parts of its economy and defense infrastructure. Instead of seeking a decisive military victory, Tehran may be pursuing leverage. A ceasefire under current conditions would leave U.S. sanctions in place, maintain pressure on Iran's economy, and allow the U.S. naval blockade to continue. Iran would remain largely excluded from international energy markets, while neighboring Gulf countries could continue exporting oil with fewer disruptions. A limited conflict changes that equation. Continued uncertainty around the Strait of Hormuz and nearby shipping routes increases insurance costs, affects global energy markets, and forces governments and businesses worldwide to pay close attention to developments involving Iran. Some analysts suggest Tehran hopes this pressure could eventually strengthen its position in future diplomatic negotiations. There is also a domestic dimension.
Iran continues to face inflation, unemployment, and public dissatisfaction. Throughout history, governments under external pressure have sometimes used national security concerns to strengthen internal unity and justify tighter security measures. But this strategy carries serious risks. Controlled conflicts rarely remain perfectly controlled. A single miscalculation could trigger a much wider regional war involving additional countries. Saudi Arabia has already taken military action against Iran-aligned groups, and further disruptions to global shipping could encourage more international involvement. For now, neither Washington nor Tehran appears to seek a full-scale war, but maintaining a limited conflict without crossing dangerous red lines may become increasingly difficult. The next unexpected strike could determine whether this remains a controlled confrontation or becomes something much larger. What do you think? Is Iran using limited conflict as a negotiating strategy, or is this approach becoming too risky to sustain? Share your thoughts in the comments.